Have you ever carried a mountain on your back, while everyone else called it your responsibility? You help, you sacrifice, you stay silent, and somewhere deep inside, you wait for a simple thank you that never comes. Tonight, I want to tell you 3 stories. 3 quiet stories about kindness, strength, and the moment you realize, not every burden is yours to carry. Why? In a dark, foggy village at the edge of a forest, there lived an old man named Kaido. Every night for 10 long years, he sat at the village gate holding a bright lantern. The fog was thick, the road was uneven, and travelers often lost their way. But Kaido stayed awake through the cold winds and aching bones, guiding strangers safely home. At first, the villagers thanked him. They praised his kindness. But slowly, something changed. They stopped bringing their own torches. They began to depend on his light. And when the flame flickered because of the wind, they complained. When his hands trembled from exhaustion, they scolded him. If he closed his eyes for even a moment, they knocked on his door in anger. They no longer saw his kindness. They saw his obligation. One night, Kaido's oil ran out. He looked at the empty lantern. He could have asked for more oil. He could have knocked on doors and reminded them of everything he had done. Instead, he blew out the flame and went to bed. The village was plunged into darkness. People stumbled on the road. They tripped over stones. They shouted at his door, "Where is our light?" From behind the wooden door, Kaido whispered calmly, "The light was always a gift, never a debt. If you cannot value the light, you must learn to walk in the dark." And that night, the villagers understood something they had forgotten. When your kindness is treated like a duty, it is time to put out the lamp. Not far from that village stood a massive oak tree named Sora. His roots were deep and strong, reaching into the richest soil. Birds rested on his branches. Travelers sat in his shade. One day, small vines began to grow around his trunk. They were thin and weak. They could not reach the sunlight on their own. Sora felt compassion for them. He allowed them to climb, but the vines grew fast, faster than anyone expected. They wrapped around his bark. They tightened around his branches. They drank his water before it could reach his leaves. What began as support slowly became suffocation. Sora felt weaker with each passing season. His leaves thinned. His branches grew fragile. A passing wind whispered through the forest, "Sora, you are a king among trees, but you are becoming a skeleton. You think you are saving them, but you are only letting them kill you." Sora did not fight the vines in anger. He did not try to tear them away. Instead, he did something wiser. He stopped growing his outer branches. He stopped feeding what clung to him. He poured all his energy into his roots. Deeper, stronger, more grounded than ever before. Without new branches to grip, without endless nourishment to steal, the vines slowly loosened. One by one, they fell away. Sora stood tall again. He learned that forgiveness does not mean allowing others to choke your growth. Sometimes it means turning inward, strengthening your roots, and letting toxic weight fall off on its own. High above the forest, a young eagle named Jiro wanted to prove he was strong. He wanted the other birds to admire him. One day, he found a beautiful stone near the river. It was heavy, flecked with gold, shining in the sunlight. He decided he would carry it to the highest peak in the mountains. Surely then, everyone would see his power. Every day, he flew with the stone clutched in his talons. His wings ached. His chest burned. He could no longer hunt properly because he was too tired. But he kept flying. He believed strength meant endurance. He believed admiration required suffering. A wise owl watched him struggle through the sky and finally called out, "Jiro, why are you carrying that?" "So others can see how strong I am," Jiro replied, his voice strained. The owl let out a soft laugh. "They are not looking at your strength. They are watching how foolish you look. Flying half dead for a rock that does not love you back." The words struck deeper than the wind. Jiro hovered in the air for a long moment. Then, slowly, he opened his claws. The stone fell. It disappeared into the deep ocean below. And suddenly, Jiro shot upward. His wings felt lighter than ever before. The sky no longer felt heavy. He wasn't falling behind, he was soaring higher than he ever had. Some things shine like gold, but they are still weights. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let go. Tonight, ask yourself, what lamp are you keeping lit for people who never bring oil? What vines are wrapped around your growth? What stone are you carrying just to impress the sky? Like Kaito, stop lighting the path for those who only complain about the smoke. Like Sora, stop letting others drain your roots. And like Jiro, drop the heavy stones you carry just for show. If these stories helped you put down a burden today, comment, "I choose peace." Like, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Stories, where we learn to carry less and live more.